Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And then remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. I like to celebrate. And today there's several of them on our list for celebrating today. Some of them are early, some of them are late. Say something nice day. Well, this is 2026. Does anybody say anything nice anymore? It's crazy how much you listen to the news. If you listen to the news, and there's not a lot of people saying a lot of nice things. Why is it that people can't disagree nicely? I just throw that out there because
it is what it is.
Today's also National Game Show Day. That's an old one. Does anybody watch game shows anymore? Maybe a little, not much. National Olive Day. Can we stuff those with some blue cheese and put it in a Tito Martini? Then we've got olives. That'll be a good use of olives. Pen Pal Day. Does anybody write anymore? You look at these things, you go, holy cow, how old are these? Josh, are these things all old stuff or what's the deal here? So Josh came up with the one good one because he knows that I have beaten anorexia. It's National Hazelnut Cake Day. You know, and Josh, your photo of that hazelnut cake looks a whole lot better than the one on the site that I'm looking at over here that has all these other things in there. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk, AM 1490, FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing a nice picture there of hazelnut cake. Looks pretty good right there. Although, what's all the weeds and gardening for? I don't know about, cut that sucker and let's have a piece of it. Okay. Let's, I was delaying as long as possible. Josh gave us some good stuff there, but I was delaying as long as possible, not wanting to look at the charts and look at the market today. It's not a pretty sight right now. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 120 points. NASDAQ is up 71. The S&P 500 is up 6. Oil up. Oil's up $6.64 a barrel. Ow! Do we even want to look at what that means? Well, it's going to take a while for it to filter through. But, there's a ugly article out from ExxonMobil this morning. So right now, national average gallon of gasoline, $4.32 a gallon. But some of us are in California.
I got a bad feeling about this.
$6.03 is Gavin's price here in California. $6.03. And ExxonMobil came out and they said because of the underlying issues within the oil market, things that nobody's talking about, they're saying that oil could go to $150 a barrel. Right now, we're looking at $94.12 is the WTI quote, West Texas Intermediate. That's what we get mostly. We produce here in the United States. We use Brent, this sour crude, but we produce the sweet. So why is ExxonMobil saying that? Well, their commentary is, now you hear about U.S. Releasing some of the oil reserves. Well, what nobody talks about is other countries have reserves, oil companies have reserves. So throughout the whole supply chain, there's reserves. And while this, I don't know what you call it. So we had the conflict that lasted, 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it was, 6 weeks. We've had this ceasefire that's been going on for about 7 or 8 weeks now. How you have a ceasefire where everyone keeps firing? So it's a modified fire. I don't know. They just said that during the ceasefire, Iran sent some missiles off. U.S. intercepted them. U.S. sunk some Iranian boats laying mines. But this is all during a ceasefire. And Israel is still fighting with Hezbollah in Lebanon during the ceasefire. So why do they call it a ceasefire? I don't understand what that means. But going back, all of this oil that was in the reserves is being drawn down and is getting, the reserves are diminished, according to ExxonMobil. And they're saying as those reserves diminish more and more, well, the price of oil on the open market is going to skyrocket. Will it happen? I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you this. That's what ExxonMobil is saying. And then you've got Iran coming out this morning at about 6 o'clock Pacific time, saying that they're not going to negotiate anymore with the U.S. Vows completely block the Strait of Hormuz. I think that's been pretty much done already. And we saw that the markets took a big turn for the worse. 10-year Treasury right now up 6 basis points, 4.502. Mortgage bonds down 28 basis points. Remember, when that bond goes down, interest rates go up. And I'm going to suggest to you, interest rates are not coming down anytime soon. They talk about it, but what would be the catalyst for interest rates coming down? And we're going to get the jobs report on Friday. We're going to get the ADP report on Wednesday. And I'm going to suggest that the ADP report on Wednesday coming out, calling for 110,000 new jobs. I think just watching what the weekly numbers have been showing, we're going to be closer to 130, 140,000 new jobs. We're going to be getting the BLS jobs report coming out on Friday, claiming that they're looking for 85,000 new jobs. I'm going to say it's going to be over 100,000 new jobs. So the jobs report is what frequently will drive. You've got two things that the Federal Reserve looks at when they're dealing with interest rates. They look at what's happening with the jobs market. So we've got that here. And we've got what's happening with inflation. Well, the inflation numbers have not been good. So there's no leg for the Federal Reserve to stand on with the thought of reducing interest rates. Now, I know that Kevin Warsh has been talking about the idea that inflation will come down with productivity driven by AI. Okay, I get it. But that's not happening anytime soon, and inflation is elevated. So I'm going to suggest no interest rate cuts this year, and there might even be interest rate increases this year. Not the picture you wanted to hear, but you don't come here to find out what you want to hear. You come out to find out what I believe is going to really be happening. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, less house, more home, why smaller homes are paying off for today's buyers. From skipped payment to 7 years of damage, how one phone call changes everything. 7 credit words that quietly cost regular families thousands of dollars a year, and your mortgage payment is about to jump in 2027. Your rate has nothing to do with it. The IRS will never call you demanding money. If they do, it's a thief. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel lending team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452. You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com, rsrlinks.com, and every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They don't tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to determine your principal and interest payment. Getting a wave here from Josh. I don't know what audio cut out. Are you hearing me now? Hello, hello? Hello, hello, hello? Hello, hello, hello? Can you hear me now? No, Verizon's still not talking to me. Wonder,
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
hello, hello, hello? Soundboard shows are going out. StreamYard shows audio. Hello, hello? Can you hear me now? Verizon, are you there, Verizon? Can you hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. Okay. So welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you put in your mortgage calculator to determine your principal and interest payment. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, go to our suite of illustrators. There's a mortgage calculator right in there. rsrlinks.com/calculators. rsrlinks.com/calculators. So what did rates do on Friday? Well, mixed bag. Conventional 30-year fix, 6.438. That was down. Jumbo 30-year fix, 6.702. That was up. FHA 30-year fix, 6.27. That was up. VA 30-year fix, 6.055. That was down. USDA 30-year fix, 6.158. That one was down. If you want our thoughts about the market as the market proceeds, you can go to our community, rsrlinks.com/HBOD, rsrlinks.com/HBOD. What are the markets doing today? Well, we've got the S&P 500 is down 2 points. We've got oil up $6.88 a barrel. Gold down $77 an ounce, $44.64. Remember when it was over $5,200 an ounce? Moving the wrong direction right now. U.S. Treasury up 7 basis points, 4.51. And the mortgage bond right now down 35 basis points. The question is on all of that is why? Oil prices rising sharply, up over 5% this morning on news that Iran has halted negotiations with the U.S. because Israel has expanded its ground assault on Lebanon. This is causing yields to spike as well, with the 10-year back above 4.5. I thought we decimated them. I thought they had no cards. Yet our oil prices are going up. That seems like a card to me. There were also strikes back and forth between the U.S. and Iran over the weekend, despite optimism that a deal was getting close. Both sides traded draft agreements to extend the ceasefire and open the Strait of Hormuz, but those negotiations have now stopped, at least for now. Exxon made some concerning comments on oil, warning that it could jump significantly and approach $150 a barrel. Ow! They cited that inventory has shielded a lot of this potential rise, but that inventory is getting down to unheard of levels and won't last. Consumers are feeling the stress. Serious delinquencies have hit scary levels. Credit cards, 13.1%, highest since 2011. Student loans, 10.3%, highest since 2020. Auto loans, 5.6%, highest on record. Additionally, the personal savings rate has hit 2.6%, which is the lowest since 2008. Rising oil prices are only going to exacerbate that situation and could lead to a slowdown. The U.S. is already starting to show signs of slowing down as Q1, with the GDP decelerating to 1.6%, and other countries around the world are doing worse than the U.S., with Canada entering a technical recession or 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. A lot of news coming out this week. Tuesday, JOLTS. Wednesday, mortgage applications. ADP employment report. Beige book. Thursday, Challenger job cuts. Productivity unit labor costs. And the big monsters on Friday. The BLS jobs report comes out on Friday. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by rsrloans.com. rsrloans.com. Mortgage 101. Mortgage 101 brought to you by rsrloans.com. rsrloans.com. Your property tax bill is going up. Your insurance is going up. And there's a very good chance your monthly mortgage payment is about to jump in 2027, even though your interest rate has not changed. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Here's what most homeowners are missing right now. The amount of money sitting in escrow accounts to cover taxes and insurance is up about 45% since 2019, and about 65% of those accounts are projected to be short this year. Short means the servicer did not collect enough to pay your bills. So next year, they fix it by raising your payment, often by a lot. Now, let me put a number on that. The average homeowner paid $4,427 in property taxes last year. That was up 3%. Inflation last year was 2.7%. So property taxes alone are outpacing inflation. And in some metros, it's not even close. Memphis is up 34%. Baltimore up 27%. St. Louis up 11%. Kansas City up 8%. Here in California, those equity and price numbers tend to run about double the national average. So if you own a home in Orange County or the Coachella Valley, you are already running with a bigger property tax base. A 3% jump on a bigger base is a bigger dollar hit. So what is happening at the same time? Inflation is climbing back up. Forecasts now show it hitting 4 to 5% this year. That is not the 9.1% peak from 2022, but here is why it stings more. Everyone is already dealing with a 24% increase in the cost of living since 2021. Any new inflation hits on top of that, your dollar is already smaller. Now it is shrinking again. Trucking spot rates are up 40% this spring. Airfares are up 21%. Package delivery is up 14%. Aluminum is up 48%. Even asphalt for your local road work is up 18%. And what about the Federal Reserve? The new Fed chair has said he thinks rates should come down, but he cannot cut while inflation is climbing. In fact, the bond market is now pricing in the possibility of a Fed rate hike this year. Not a cut, a rate hike. So what does this mean for you and your mortgage? If long-term treasury yields climb higher, mortgage rates climb with them. Anyone sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect lower rate may be waiting for a train that is not coming this year. So what do? You stop guessing. You build a plan. This is exactly where most families get stuck. They try to solve a cash flow problem by hunting for a lower interest rate. That is the wrong tool. A lower rate does not fix a rising property tax bill. A lower rate does not fix an escrow shortage. A lower rate does not fix a household budget that has absorbed 24% in extra cost of living since 2021. You know what does fix those things? A plan. Strategy beats rate always. Strategy means knowing what your total household payment will look like 12 months from now, not just today. Strategy means stress testing your budget against a 4 to 5% inflation year. Strategy means tracking your credit, your assets, and your cash flow in one place so a surprise escrow letter in January does not blow up your year. That is what Key Steps is built for. It is not a calendar. It is not a sales pitch. It's a real tool I offer my clients to monitor credit, build a working budget, and track assets. It's how families I work with see the curve coming before they get hit by it. If you want access, go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. Get your plan in motion before the 2027 escrow letters start hitting mailboxes. Because here's the truth. The Fed is not going to save you. A lower rate is not going to save you. The only thing that protects your household in a year like this is strategy. Strategy beats rate, always. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to Mortgage 101, brought to you by rsrloans.com, rsrloans.com. Real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. What most veterans don't know about their VA home loan benefit. Interesting story. I love the VA home loans. Nearly half of veterans, 49%, feel home ownership is currently out of reach, according to a recent survey from New Day USA. But many are closer than they think, and you might be too. If you're a veteran, you probably know the Veterans Affairs VA home loans benefit exists. It's been around for over 80 years. Yahoo! Yeah, we like that one. What you might not know is what it actually covers. 3 misconceptions trip up veterans the most, and I'm going to share those with you right now. I don't know if we have that chart, Josh, or not. Most veterans don't know all the VA home loan benefits. There it is. Of course he has it. 68% aren't aware they may be able to buy with 0 down payment. 77% know the private mortgage insurance, PMI, isn't usually required. 58% don't realize that basic allowance for housing, BAH, may count as income. Any one of those beliefs could be holding you back. Let's walk through all 3 so you have the information you really need. Potential to put 0 money down is probably the biggest perk of a VA loan, but most buyers don't even realize that's an option. According to New Day USA survey, many respondents guess they need to save somewhere between $10,000 and $19,000 before they could buy. That's years of saving for upfront cost that isn't always required. You may have lower closing costs. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, with VA loans, there can be limits on the types of closing costs buyers have to pay. That means more money stays in your pocket on closing day, and you have less to save up before you can buy. The benefit combined with the down payment perk can speed up your buying timeline. I'm going to submit it may cost you less to get in, buy the home than go and lease one to live in. Unlike many other loan options, VA loans typically do not require private mortgage insurance, even with low or no money down. If you take out a conventional loan instead, you could pay $100 to $300 a month in PMI until you hit 20% equity. According to New Day USA, over time, that's a difference of thousands of dollars. Your BAH and BAS may help you qualify for more. If you're on active duty or if you're qualifying reservist, your basic allowance for housing, BAH, and basic allowance for subsistence, BAS, may count toward income qualification on a VA loan. So if you were running the numbers without factoring your BAH or BAS in, you could qualify for more than you thought. Both BAH and BAS are non-taxable, so they can help raise the amount you can qualify for. Bottom line, VA home loans can put your home ownership within reach, and a trusted lender can help make sure you understand the details before you move forward. If you're active duty, you've served, or know someone who has, connect with a trusted lender who can walk you through whether you'd qualify and what the VA benefit offers. You may be able to buy a house sooner than you thought. And as a certified mortgage advisor, we've got the tools to help you determine what your benefits may or may not be. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the current market. When we come back, less house, more homes, why smaller homes are paying off for today's buyers. From skipped payment to 7 years of damage, how one phone call changes everything, and more. Reach me anytime, off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's...
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Real-Time Real Estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Less house, more home. Why smaller homes are paying off for today's buyers. You started shopping with a specific mental image of your future home in your mind. Then the houses in your budget came in smaller than you pictured. That's the reality for a lot of buyers right now. Affordability is tight, but don't let that discourage you. Going smaller might actually be a smart play in today's market, and the upside can be bigger than you'd think. Let's break down 2 places to look where smaller won't necessarily feel like a compromise. For starters, smaller is kind of on trend right now. Newly built homes have been shrinking for years. According to the latest data from the census, the median square footage of a single-family home has been falling overall since 2014. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 FM 98.1 video feed, you are seeing a chart of newly built homes having gotten smaller. Why? Builders focus on the type of homes consumers want the most. After all, they want to build what will actually sell. And for the past decade, buyers seem to agree less is more, especially right now when affordability is a key concern. They're building homes with smaller square footage than a decade ago. And that's good because that may be more within budget for many buyers. It's part of why new home prices recently hit a 5-year low. So if you're not getting excited about any of the existing options at your price point, it may be time to check out what builders are doing in your area. You may find brand new options you really love with all the latest and greatest features. And if you've got modern appliances and design, maybe slightly less square footage doesn't feel like that much of a compromise anymore, especially if the house is move-in ready. Just in case you don't have a ton of new builds in your area, another avenue worth exploring is condominiums or condos. For buyers crunching numbers to make the math work, condos can take real pressure off the budget. According to the National Association of Realtors, the median price for condos is less than the median for single-family homes in every region. And you've got that chart right there coming up on the screen. Part of that is because condos are typically smaller, and smaller square footage can come with a smaller price tag too. That's a selling point to affordability. Strapped buyers right now, and it's one of the reasons we're seeing a bump in condo sales. The number of condos sold rose 2.7% from just a month ago. It's also up year over year. According to NAR, Ali Wolf, chief economist for New Home Source, explains why more buyers are going this route. Quote, in addition to favoring smaller floor plans, more consumers are showing a willingness to live in an attached home. This shift is not driven by a preference for shared walls, but by a pursuit of value, unquote. Here's why smaller may still work for you. Whether it's a condo complex or a neighborhood of detached single-family homes, the right community can give you back the amenities what you trade in square footage. Many developments are designed so the home is just one piece of where you actually spend your time. Master plan communities often include walking trails, pools, fitness centers, co-working spaces, and outdoor gathering areas, the kind of features that pick up where your floor plan leaves off. No room for a dedicated office? The co-working space might be just a 5-minute walk away. Want a place to work out? It's already built in with the shared gym. And features like that can make opting for a smaller footprint feel less like a compromise and more like a big lifestyle upgrade. Bottom line, today's smaller single-family homes and condos have more going for them than the square footage suggests. They can give your budget more breathing room and put you in a community designed with lifestyle in mind. Curious about the options in your area? Give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I can put you on a search with no obligation and no advertising for any community that you want to take a look at. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Let's see, Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. There are 7 words inside the credit world that quietly cost regular families thousands of dollars a year, and most people get every single one of them wrong. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Today, I want to walk through 7 credit words that sound simple, but the people who understand them keep more of their money every single time. Let's start with the first one, credit report. Your credit report is not your credit score. They are 2 different things. Think of your FICO score as your GPA in school. One number, a summary. Your credit report is a full transcript, every class, every grade, every late assignment going back years. When a lender pulls your file, they're not just looking at the number, they're reading the story. And the story is where the savings live. Because a 720 score with a clean story will often beat a 740 score with a messy one. Number 2, inquiry. When somebody looks at your credit, that shows up. There are 2 kinds, a hard inquiry, which happens when you apply for a credit card, and a soft inquiry, which is when you check your own score or when a lender does a soft pre-screen. Here's what most people don't know. A soft inquiry does nothing to your score, nothing. So when somebody tells you they are afraid to check their own FICO because they think it'll hurt them, that is a myth. You can check your own FICO at rsrlinks.com/FICO, rsrlinks.com/FICO, and it costs you 0 points. Number 3, delinquent. I know it sounds like a kid skipping school. In the credit world, it just means a payment is past due. That's it. It does not mean you're a bad person. It does not mean you're reckless. It means a payment did not arrive on time. But here's the part that matters. A delinquency is one of the biggest score killers in the whole FICO model. One 30-day late on a mortgage can drop a 760 score down into the 670s. That is not a typo. One single missed payment. So if you are sitting on a great score right now, the most valuable thing you can do is keep paying on time. Boring, powerful, boring and powerful. Number 4, utilization. This is the silent killer. Utilization is the amount of credit card debt you are carrying compared to your credit terms. If you have a $10,000 limit and you owe $9,000, your utilization is 90% and your score is getting hammered. If you owe $1,000 on that same card, you're at 10% and your score breathes. Now, here's the strategy piece. A lot of people pay their credit card off in full every month, and they still get killed on utilization. Why? Because the bank reports the balance to the bureaus before the statement closes. So the score sees a high balance even though you pay it off. That's exactly the kind of thing we look at. Strategy beats rate always. RSRCCpayment.com. RSRCCpayment.com is the strategy for you. Number 5, forbearance. Forbearance is a fancy word for a pause. The lender pauses your payment. The lender does not disappear. The balance does not disappear. But you are not required to pay for a stretch of time. People use this a lot in 2020 and 2021. Here's the catch. Forbearance is not a free lunch. It can still show up on your credit file in ways that affect future borrowing, especially on a mortgage. So before you ever push a payment into forbearance, you want a certified liability advisor looking at the whole picture, because pausing one payment can cost you a refinance 6 months later. Number 6, version. FICO is not one score. There are different versions of the FICO score, just like there are different versions of your iPhone. The score a car dealer pulls is not the same version your mortgage lender pulls. The score your credit card app shows you on your phone is almost never the version a mortgage underwriter sees. This is why people walk into my office saying, my app says 760, and the mortgage pull comes back at 712. They are not lying. They are looking at the wrong version. The mortgage industry uses older, stricter versions on purpose. If you want to see the right version, go to rsrlinks.com/FICO. Number 7, credit invisible. This one breaks my heart because it usually hits younger borrowers or people new to this country. Credit invisible means you don't have enough credit history or FICO to even score you. No score at all. Not a bad credit. No credit. And no score means no mortgage, no car loan, no apartment, in a lot of cases. The fix is simple. You need at least one account open for 6 months or more, and at least one account reporting in the last 6 months. A secured credit card, a small loan, a cosign line, something, because invisibility costs more than a low score ever did. So what do you do with all this? Here's an example. A California family carrying a $650,000 mortgage, 2 credit cards close to their limit, and 1 old collection still on the file. National numbers would say a mortgage balance like that lives around $330,000, but in California, equity and balances tend to run about double the national figures. So 650 is realistic here. That family thought their problem was the interest rate. It wasn't. Their problem was their FICO score sitting at 684 instead of 740. Once we cleaned up the utilization on the 2 cards and got the collection re-aged, the score moved 50 points. 50 points on a $650,000 mortgage is real money. We're talking hundreds of dollars a month, every single month for the life of the loan. That's what I mean by strategy beats rate always. Here's the action items for today. Go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That is where we map out your credit, your budget, and the assets you are building toward. Step by step, rsrlinks.com/keysteps, because you cannot fix what you're not willing to look at, and you cannot grow what you're not willing to track. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, the IRS will never call you demanding money. If they do, It's a thief. And from skipped payments to 7 years of damage, how one phone call changes everything. All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Borrow Smart segment today being brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. The phone rings. The voice on the other end already knows your name, maybe your address too. They say they are calling from the IRS. They tell you that you owe back taxes you have to pay right now, today, or the police are on their way. Your heart starts pounding, and that pounding heart is exactly what they are counting on. I am Ron Siegel, Certified Liability Advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Here's something I do not think gets said enough. All the smart money moves in the world do not matter if someone tricks you into handing your money away. Building wealth is 1/2 of the job. Protecting what you have built is the other half. And tax season is when the bad guys come out to play. Scammers love this time of year. They know you are busy. They know you're getting a little stressed about getting things right with the government, so they call, they email, and they set up shop pretending to be tax preparers. Let me walk you through the 3 big ones and how you keep your money right where it belongs. So let's start with the phone call, because it is the most common trick out there. Someone calls claiming to be the IRS. They might say you owe back taxes. They might say the opposite, that you have a refund waiting. They just need your bank information to send it. Both are traps. Here's the part I want you to write down. There are 3 things the real IRS will never do. The IRS will never demand payment over the phone. The IRS will never threaten to send the police or have you arrested. And the IRS will never ask for your credit card or debit card number on a call. So the moment any of these 3 things happen, you already know it's a scam. What do? You stay calm and you get off the phone. You do not argue. You do not explain yourself. You do not give them one single piece of personal information. You just hang up. Then you report it. You can call the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration at 800-366-4484. That's 800-366-4484. Or report it to the Federal Trade Commission and your local police. I'll give you a simple habit that has saved a lot of folks a lot of grief. During tax season, let your voicemail do the work. If a number you do not recognize calls, let it ring through. A scam is much easier to spot sitting in your voicemail than it is when someone is yelling threats in your ear. You are not on the spot. You get to think. And thinking is the one thing these people do not want you to do. Now, the second trick is email. When a fake IRS message shows up in your inbox, that is called phishing. A popular version asks you to update your IRS e-file on your profile with a handy link to click. Do not click it. The real IRS does not email you about your account or your refund. So here's the rule. Never open emails claiming to be from the IRS. Stay away from any website that looks off or promises something too good to be true, and never type your social security number or your bank information into an email, because with your social security number alone A criminal can file a tax return in your name and walk off with your refund. The third trick is the sneakiest because it shows up wearing a suit and a smile. Fake tax preparers. Not everyone who offers to do your taxes is the real deal. So how do you tell? A legitimate preparer is required to have something called a PTIN, a Preparer Tax Identification Number from the IRS. No PTIN, no deal. Walk away and watch for the red flags. Be careful with anyone who sets their fee based on the size of your refund. Be careful with anyone who wants your refund sent to them instead of you. Be very careful with anyone who promises you a giant refund before they have even looked at your numbers. And if a preparer ever asks you to sign a blank return or hints at bending the rules to pad your refund, get up and leave. Because if they file a phony return in your name, you are the one who answers for it. Penalties, interest, and in some cases, criminal charges. Not them, you. So what does this mean for you? It comes back to something I talk about all the time: safety. Before we ever talk about return, before we talk about growth, we talk about protecting the foundation. Your money strategy means nothing if a scammer drains the account on Tuesday afternoon. The good news is that the people who get scammed are almost never the people who slow down and ask one simple question: does this feel right? You already have that instinct. You just have to give yourself permission to use it. If you want to get your whole financial house in order, not just for tax reasons, for tax season, but for good, I put together a tool to help you do exactly that. Go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. It walks you through the steps to get organized, protect what you have, and build from a position of strength. Because strategy beats rate always. And strategy starts with knowing your money is safe. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening to the Borrow Smart segment, brought to you by rsrwealthbuilder.com, rsrwealthbuilder.com. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. When money gets tight, the first bill people skip is the one that costs them the most later. The credit card, the car payment, the small stuff. It feels like the smallest fire, so it gets put out last. And that one skipped payment can follow you around for the next 7 years. I am Ron Siegel, certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Today, we're talking about credit, specifically how to protect it when life is doing its best to wreck it. Most people think a credit score is a number that decides if you get a loan. That's a small version of the truth. Your credit score also decides where you can rent. It decides what you pay for car insurance. It decides what your cell phone deposit looks like. In some industries, it even decides if you get the job. Your credit score is a tax on your future. A high score is a refund. A low score is a penalty, and the penalty compounds. Here's the part nobody likes to hear. Payment history is roughly 35% of your score. One 30-day late payment can drop a 760 by 80 to 110 points. That single late payment can sit on your credit report for up to 7 years. 7 years for one missed due date. So what do you do when the budget gets thin? First, you stop guessing. You actually look. You pull your credit reports from all three bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You look at every account. You look at every late mark. You look for anything that does not belong to you. If you've never pulled your own credit report, if you'd be shocked how often there are errors sitting on there, quietly costing you money. That is exactly why I share a tool called rsrlinks.com/FICO. rsrlinks.com/FICO. It's how you check your real score and your real report without guessing, without damaging anything. Second, you pay the minimums. Always the minimums. I know that sounds obvious, but here's the math that makes it matter. Your credit card minimum, is $75 and you skip it. You trigger a late fee, an interest rate bump, and a credit score hit that may cost you $50,000 over the life of your next mortgage. That $75 payment is the cheapest insurance policy in your house. And the timing of when you pay it matters more than most people realize. If you want to see how to use the calendar to your advantage on credit card payments, go to rsrccpayments.com. rsrccpayment.com. Same minimum payment, dramatically different impact on your score. If you cannot make the full minimum, pay something. Pay partial payment is not the same as a missed payment in the eyes of your lender. It tells him you're trying. That matters. Third, this one is the most people skip out of pride. Call your creditors before you are late, not after. Lenders have hardship programs you've never heard of because they do not advertise them. Lower payments, payment pauses, a new due date that lines up with when you actually get paid. They want to keep you as a customer. A defaulted account is a worse outcome for them than a modified one. But you have to ask. And when they say yes, you get it in writing. Not a phone call, not a promise in writing. Save the email, save the letter, save the chat transcript. If your account gets misreported 6 months from now, that piece of paper is what fixes it. Here's the contrarian piece I want you to take home. Protecting your credit during tough times is not about being a perfect borrower. It's about being a visible borrower. Lenders forgive customers they hear from. They punish customers they have to chase. Let me give you a quick example. A family I know on paper had a household income drop because of a job change. They had a $650,000 mortgage, 3 credit cards, and an auto loan. Instead of hiding from it, they called every creditor before they missed a single payment. 2 cards lowered the minimum for 6 months. The auto lender moved the due date. The mortgage company did not need to do anything because the strategy worked. Their credit score moved a total of 4 points during that stretch. 4 points, not 80. Same family who hides, same starting score, same income drop, same bills. By month 4, they're down 140 points. Ow! Now, they cannot refinance, cannot consolidate, cannot move that debt anywhere useful. They are stuck. Their bad month became a bad 7 years. That's the difference between strategy and panic. So what does this mean for you? Strategy beats rate always. In this case, strategy beats stress. Look at your report, pay the minimums, call before you miss, get it in writing, keep the records. If you want a clean, simple framework for the next steps, the budgeting tools, the credit monitoring, the asset liability tracking that keeps a tough season from turning into a tough decade, go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. One place to see what you owe, what you own, and what is moving in the right direction. I am Ron Siegel, your certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. Thanks for listening. Your Credit Matters brought to you by rsrlinks.com/debt-free, rsrlinks.com/debt-free. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.